Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. I'm your Kennywood fanatic and I hope you all are having a wonderful day and a wonderful week. I know I am. Now, in today's video, I thought we could do a little comparison between two of Pennsylvania's premier parks. That both of their names also start with K, so I thought that was pretty cool. Knoebels and Kennywood. Now, how the scoring for today's video will work is that I will put two similar coasters head to head. So, for example, we'll have something like Exterminator and Black Diamond, and they'll go head to head. And the winner of that will win its park 2 points. So, whichever park has more points at the end will win the video. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Our first roller coaster matchup is Skyrocket and Impulse. These are two rides that are very comparable, but also have many differences. They both have a vertical tower / top hat and maneuver throughout many fun inversions. Skyrocket features an amazing launch and a stellar first half, with good airtime on the top hat and a stellar 0G roll. It, however, falls off after the corkscrew, and the second half is very forceless. Impulse starts strong with a vertical lift that maneuvers many smooth inversions, all of them having force. These inversions include a cobra roll, a vertical loop, and a barrel roll finale. The barrel roll finale offers insane hang time. I honestly did not feel safe on it. Well, I felt safe. My father did not feel safe going through that barrel roll finale. He thought that he would fall out of his seat. Let's be honest here. Overall, I think I'm going to give the point to Impulse due to it having consistent force and a consistent intensity throughout the entire ride layout. Knoebels will lead 2-0. This second matchup we have is Twister and Thunderbolt. When I talk about Twister, I often compare it to a more modern version of Thunderbolt, as it has similar terrain usage, an odd lift hill setup, and a double helix. Twister is excellent for a scenic and interesting ride. While it has great laterals and some good positives, it is weak on airtime, with only a few weak pops of airtime all around the entire layout, which I will say, this is the longest ride at Knoebels, so I find it kind of disappointing, personally, that there is not a whole bunch of airtime to it. Contrast this with Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt has the best laterals in the world, in my opinion, on its double helix. It also only has like one pop of airtime. However, Thunderbolt's pop of airtime is very, very, very strong. For those of you that don't know, Thunderbolt has something that I call lift hill airtime. Now, what I mean when I say lift hill airtime is whenever the train is connecting with the chain on the lift hill, it's jolty, so you'll get launched out of your seat and your lap will be hitting the buzz bar. Overall, both of these rides are very, very good, but Thunderbolt has stronger forces, is a smoother ride, and I also like its historical significance, so it will win this matchup. Kennywood will tie it up at 2 apiece. The third matchup is Flying Turns and Racer. These both have a very unique gimmick and are great family coasters. Flying Turns is a very unique experience as it is the last remaining wooden bobsled coaster on the planet and has a very unique ride experience as a result. Due to the fact that you're not locked onto the track, but you glide around it moving every which way, makes it exciting as you don't know what's going to happen next, and it brings this kind of air of mystery to the ride. Racer is a Mobius loop ride, meaning it starts and ends on different sides of the station. The atmosphere on the ride, with everyone putting up L's to each other to make kind of a competition, makes it a grand old time. It has a weak floater throughout the ride in the front row, and it has an insane pop of ejector at the end compared to the other airtime on the ride. I love this ride as it was my first major wooden coaster, and it's really like my first big coaster. Yes, Jackrabbit was not my first big coaster, and we will be talking about Jackrabbit later. Overall, I think I'm going to give the edge to Flying Turns due to its very unique and interesting ride experience. Knoebels will lead 4-2. The fourth matchup is Exterminator and Black Diamond. These are both well-themed indoor coasters, and you could pass them as dark rides, but for the purpose of this video, they are going to be both. I'm going to classify them both as coasters. Black Diamond is most bestly defined as a fire in the hole if it were themed to mining, and if it were steel instead of wood. It has a few drops that do not offer much in terms of airtime, but the theming is very, very cool. Just a heads up, if this Exterminator POV makes you a little nauseous, because it was making me a little nauseous whenever I was making this video, you can skip ahead. Anyways, moving on. Exterminator is a wild mouse coaster. It's themed to being a rat in the Pittsburgh sewers, and there are these people who are trying to go in and exterminate you. And yeah, so that's why it's called Exterminator, obviously. It has good forces, but it makes weird noises that give me headaches. Overall, this is a very fun ride, and I enjoy it. However, I do not think it's worth the wait because its queue line is very, very hot. It smells like BO. It smells like weed sometimes. So I don't know what's happening with that. However, if you go to the park and you have an ADA pass, I would definitely ride this coaster. I don't think it's worth the main queue line wait, but it's definitely worth the ride if you have something like an ADA pass. Overall, I will give the point to Exterminator, as I think it has stronger forces, and I, being a Pittsburgh native, like its theming a little bit better. Kennywood once again ties it at 4 apiece. The fifth and final coaster matchup is Jackrabbit and Phoenix. Now, I was going to do Phoenix and Phantom's Revenge, however, I did not think that would be fair to Knoebels to compare this relatively short in stature wooden coaster to a freaking hyper coaster. Anyways, I'm done with that thought now. Let's get into these two rides. Phoenix is one of the most overrated rides that I have been on. It has just okay airtime. I do not personally think it deserves the Ace Golden Ticket Awards, but it is still a very fun ride in general, as the airtime, while being very, very, very overrated and a little bit overhyped on my end, is still very solid. The airtime is in very weird places, such as like halfway down a drop, not like the whole drop, like it starts halfway down a drop and then it snaps you out. It's super weird. Jackrabbit also has insane airtime of its own on the double dip, especially in the back row. This is my favorite singular airtime moment that I have ever experienced. However, other than one moment, this ride is nothing too insane. It's a couple dips, and it's like a ride through a tunnel. So it's not too forceful other than that double dip. Especially whenever you accidentally unbuckle your seatbelt, so you're scrambling to rebuckle it. But that's a story for another day. Phoenix, I believe, is a more complete ride, and it feels like a more complete ride. So I'm going to give it the points, and Knoebels will once again take the lead at 6-4. In addition, Knoebels will also gain an extra point for Cosmo's Curves. Kennywood will gain 3 extra points for Phantom's Revenge, Steel Curtain, and Lil Phantom. This makes our score tied at 7 apiece. Well, I know a tied game is kind of anticlimactic in the end. So if you want me to do some other little mini matchups where I go in depth with these two parks, like maybe their flat ride collection or their dark ride collection, let me know, because I could make this a whole series of Kennywood versus Knoebels. Well, I hope you all enjoyed your time here with me. I have some shout outs before the video is over. Shout outs to Coaster Thrills, Theme Park Worldwide, Kennywood Park, and Attractions 360 Degrees for letting me borrow some content for this video. Let me know what you guys thought about this video in the comments below. If you like what you saw here, check out some of my other videos and consider subscribing. Well, have a great rest of your day here at Kennywood Park.